What's up, everybody? Welcome back to All Things Nerdy with Nate and Joe. I'm Nate, and that's Joe. Got the point right. Shout out to Hunter. I watched this later and gave me a hard time because I never get it right. Anyways, today we're going to be cooking up some good conversations. So we talked about smoking meats a couple weeks ago, and I really wanted to dive into cooking. Cooking is something that I love and I'm super passionate about. I just love good food. I kind of learned how to cook a couple years back. We'll get into that story and all of those things. But Joe?
Yep. So I think I said it on that episode too, but I don't necessarily cook a ton, but I do love to eat and love to hear about food, and especially food that Nate brings. He always shares pictures and stuff. And I'm just like, wow, why am I so far away? I can't try it. But super excited. Also excited to say that we finally linked up our YouTube. So we are actually live on YouTube now as well. That's a new growth thing for the podcast. So shout out to All Things Nerdy live on YouTube now.
That's right.
Further ado, Nate, let's talk nerdy.
Yeah, so first off, some housekeeping stuff. I've been really, really bad about updating YouTube. I now have a reminder and stuff like that. I'm going to make more of a priority to do that and to try to be more present on LinkedIn and Facebook under our social thing. It's just, life has been busy and I kind of got sidetracked. So I'm going to start focusing on that a lot more and trying to do a lot better with it. But other than that, let's jump into it. So, Joe, I'm going to kick it off in a big way. What is your favorite thing? I guess let's do this. Favorite thing to eat? Favorite thing to cook?
Yeah, favorite thing to eat recently has been and this may be anime inspired, is ramen. Because there's ramen that I make at home from the pack, right? And it's just not the same as when you go somewhere and get real ramen. It hits different, and it's just the broth is so good. That was our request when we went to visit you in New York was ramen, because you had teased us with that picture that you made before. It's just so many different ingredients that come together, and just the anime throwback to it as well, I guess, makes it where that's why I want it, because I'm watching anime and I'm I want some ramen. What about you?
My favorite thing to eat is not even close. Just give me some ribeye and mashed potatoes, and I'm good. Now the ribeye's got to be done correctly. So I'm a bit of a food snob, right? I love a specific style of food, and I kind of I'm not an established critic or anything, but I'd be I wish this had more salt and stuff like that. But which is weird because I didn't really cook until a couple of years ago. But for me, my favorite thing to eat is just easy mid-rare ribeye. I prefer cast iron over anything. I just do room temp, salt, pepper, a little garlic powder, and then 2 minutes based with some butter, finish in the oven, pull it out, done.
All right, so we got a comment I'm gonna throw up and then say something. We got Barshman says it's not what I heard was your favorite thing to eat. I'm not gonna say anything to that, but I'm sure you guys can make your own insinuations on what that means. But
Marshman, I don't even gotta tell all the people here about you and Cooper. We don't gotta get into all that now.
But I feel like I've noticed a trend of you adopt something and go all out in it, and then you become a super big critic and food snob. Now you're even an anime snob, even though we started watching anime a year ago, and now you're oh, well, this show doesn't have this, and this ribeye wasn't done exactly to temperature, and I could tell because so it's you put all effort into something that you attach to, and then and then you become a super judger of them. I'm pretty sure if I made you ribeye, you would snare your nose up at it and be I'm not eating that.
No, if you made the ribeye delicious, I would not. But if you didn't, then I would be Joe, this is great. I'm so thankful that you cooked this, But next time, maybe.
Yeah, next time maybe. We got Adam that says he thought that your favorite food was barbecue. I mean,
dude, I do love some barbecue, a brisket, and I am a Texas style salt, pepper, that Dalmatian rub. Whew, I could crush some brisket. But Joe, you're absolutely right. So also, I go to therapy because I'm a crazy person, and I've talked to my therapist about this. I'm very much a incredibly committed person. When I enjoy something, I throw everything into it. So Pokemon, I competitive battle, I breed the best little fucking Pokemon that you can make, right? I do that. Anime, within a year and a half, I'm ashamed to admit how much anime I've watched. So when I enjoy something and I like to do it, like I try to be as good at it as I can. So like recently I've been playing Summoner's War on my phone. It's a blast of a game. But dude, I'm over here like Googling RTA combos, matchups, runes, how to get the perfect runes and stuff like that. Like I am very much like I want to be good at what I do if I'm gonna take the time to do it.
Yep. Got a couple more comments. We got McCoy says some people call those haters. And Marshman says, Bruno Corey, great to have you here. So it's like our audience is chatting together now. They don't need us anymore. But yeah, definitely a trend that I've noticed, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? If you're going to do something, do it at 100%, right? If you're passionate about it, show your passion. I just get to make fun of you for it and call you out on the podcast because it's really fun for me.
I wish my passion was to eat healthy and to get in shape. That'd be fucking great.
Yeah, that'd be fun. You've dabbled in CrossFit. You've done it. You know what it's like. But yeah, so I guess kind of getting us back to like the food discussion and cooking in general, right? So you told us about your story, like how you just recently got into cooking a few years ago. I guess what is the hardest thing that it was for you to learn how to cook and prepare correctly?
Ooh, that's a great question. One which I wish you would have prepared me for, because now I got to take a moment to actually think about that. That's tough. Probably the hardest thing to prepare and cook. Ooh.
Man, you act like I had this question prepared. Like I literally just thought of this on the fly. You know, this is how we roll.
Oh my gosh. So for me, baking is really difficult because I am not like a precision person. I'm a cook with my heart kind of guy, right? Like I don't like following directions. And even like my family, this is like deep rooted, right? Like I ask my granny, be like, Granny, how we make biscuits? And she'd be like, oh, you know, just this much flour, throw some in there, you know, pour some milk till it feels right. Granny, is that like a cup? Is that like a half a cup? She's like, no, you'll just know when you know. I'm like, Granny, that's not how it really works. I have no idea what I'm doing. She's like, trust, just pour. And I'm like, oh my God. Well, she doesn't say trust, but she's like, oh my God, just pour the milk. And I'm like, bye.
That's fair. Yeah, like I've watched some like baking cooking shows and like to make it like I guess perfect or like where it's like, you know, top tier level, like you do have to measure out like to like a not even like whatever smaller than a teaspoon is. Like they're like putting pinches of stuff and measuring it out like it's a scientific formula.
Because it is.
Like this stuff. Yeah, it really is a lot more. And we should have like a guest like that's like we got to get a guest on here that's super into baking so we can talk to them about how much effort goes into baking certain things.
Dude, I wish my wife would agree to come on the show, and she just will not do it because she just doesn't think she has enough to share. She's a machine when it comes to baking, dude. Like just like direct recipes are her thing, right? She can make anything provided a recipe. I cannot. I will find a way to fuck up a lot of things, but like her, it doesn't matter. She's a baking machine.
Looking over at her like, you gonna come on the show? But we got a couple more comments. Masha says the hardest thing for you to cook up is a decent game of Call of Duty. Ouch!
Shots fired. And
and then Marshall says you never know exactly what a peach is.
That's real.
That's real. Like it could be your peach is different than Steph's peach is different than my peach. Like a peach is hard to actually measure.
Bro, I wish I could share with y'all like the legit. So I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, like, so I had a buddy coming into town. I was going to make some chocolate gravy because he had never had it. Shout out to West. I was like, yo, Mom, like, how would I do the chocolate gravy? Like, I kind of have an idea. I remember it from way back then, but walk me through it. Dude, I wish I could share with y'all. I mean, I guess I could read it, but it's literally like, oh, just like, you know, just like this of sugar. I'm like, what is, and she's like, you just turn it up and she's like, wait a second and then go back. But I'm like, well, how much is coming out? You know? And it's just, it's like deep rooted, dude. Like my family, we don't measure. We cook from the heart. It is what it is.
You put the love into it. Yeah. That's what makes it so good.
Yeah.
Marcia says chocolate gravy 100.
Yeah, my southern guys know what it's about. Now the northern people, like when I told like my wife about it, and like and some other people, they're like, "What is chocolate gravy?" I'm like, you don't even know. It's a delicacy.
It's a delicacy. Which says, Joe, have you ever had it? Not in a long time, but I have had it before.
It's not healthy.
Okay.
At the start of COVID, I made it a couple of times. Steph's like, Nate, we can't keep doing this, dude.
That's pretty funny. And so my next question is, do you have a story where you just royally mess something up? Like it was like maybe your first attempt or maybe not your first attempt, but you just like it was chaos based on like your attempt at cooking something. Because I do. So I'll let you go first, or maybe I should tell my story and then let you follow up and let you think about it.
Let's run that.
Look, so I don't cook a lot, right? And again, I don't know exact stuff either. So we had been fishing, and I was like, I got some fish. I'm gonna fry them up. Should be easy. I've watched my mom do it before. I've watched people cook fish before. I've looked at it online. Like you just throw them in the grease and like they cook and you're good. So, I mean, I put the grease on the pan, was getting it ready to go, and then I just take the fish and I drop it in there. And when I tell you, it was like an explosion went off in this house. Like instantly, that thing said poof, and the entire house looked like it was on fire, like black smoke billowing. We had to open every door, every window. That house stunk for like 2 weeks of burnt fish because apparently there's a certain temperature that you need to get the grease to not instantly turn your fish into a black piece of char. And I didn't know that. I was just like, look, the grease is hot. I'm gonna throw it in there and let's see what happens. No, that was wrong. And I have since never attempted to fry fish ever because I learned from my mistakes that I'm not good at that particular skill.
Jesus, that's brutal. Oh, bro, you just like just
Yes, I put the grease on high, had the pot boiling with the grease, and just dropped the fish in there. And when I tell you, it was an instant reaction.
Well, yeah, like, dude, you put like cold and fish has like a decent amount of like water to it and everything. So that water and it just.
Yeah, and I had prepped it all right. I like got some, I coated it with like good seasoning and the flour, like that kind of stuff, and like dropped in there. I was super excited and instantly turned to regret. Like instantly turned to regret.
Well, I mean that tops any story I got, Joe, because I'm not trying to burn my fucking house down.
Look, I picked the pot up and put it outside. There wasn't really any fire involved. It was just like. I guess the temperature was so instant that it was just like char. Like there was no fire. Like it was just,
I bet that smell was so bad.
It was so bad. What thankfully for me, I didn't do it at my house. I did it at my mother-in-law's house.
Dude, I would never allow you back. That's even worse. Like you would have had to stay there until the smell left. Like I would not have let you leave my house.
But she was really cool because she was at work. She came home. She was really cool about it. She was like, "What is that smell?" I was like, "Well, your daughter tried to cook fish." She knew it was instantly. It was me. We got a comment from Brandon that says, "Ask my kids about me cooking bacon for the first time. Ruined the pan, the tool I was using, and the bacon." See, I'm not alone. Frying stuff is hard, Nate. Like it's hard. Okay.
Okay. First off, you're deep frying fish. He's pan frying bacon. There's a difference. Not all frying is the same, Joe. Okay. Golly, what has happened? Okay, so my worst cooking is like when I was a kid. It's when I was living in Indiana, and this is a little different. So I put on a pot of water to like cook some like ramen noodles. And you ever heard like you could burn water? Legit, my ass fell asleep and woke up. So it was like a gas thing, and I had it on high to like start boiling. Right, I fell asleep. I woke up a couple hours later. The pan was like melted into it. It had like evaporated all of the water, everything, and just it was awful. Like I burned water.
That's impressive. Okay. Oh man, that's pretty funny as well. I mean, but in your defense, you were a little kid and you fell asleep. Like
I was like 13, 14. When I say little, I don't mean like little.
Yeah. So you probably should have known a little bit better, but it still doesn't quite reach grown man almost setting the entire house on fire by trying to cook a fish.
No. I will say we did a Friendsgiving a couple years ago, and this wasn't me. I was just involved. It was at our house in New Orleans, and we had a bunch of stuff in the oven. A bunch of people brought things, and at the top, someone had like sweet potato casserole with like marshmallows on top of it, and someone turned the oven to broil. Right. And we're just chilling. And then somebody notices there's like some kind of like light looking in the oven. We're like, what? We pull it down. The freaking mallows caught fire. We're like, oh shit. We're like pulling them out. And, oh my God.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it wasn't me. It was my house, but like I'm not the one that put it in there and broiled it.
Did whoever turned the oven on own up to it? Did they admit? Or is it a mystery to this day?
Okay, I think it was Wes, and I think he did, but I could be wrong. So if I'm wrong, my apologies, Wes. I feel like it was Wes.
Just calling Wes out. Yep. He said he almost burned our house down. It's fine though.
Well, no, I mean it wasn't like all intentional. I think it's just where the room was, right? You know, and like they were trying to brown the mallows, which broil is the appropriate thing to do. So. It just got crazy because I guess it was so close and so crowded. Just it was crazy.
Man, that is pretty crazy, man.
I will say probably one of my favorite things to like bake, and this is not something I do a lot of, and I have a fun little story about it. Is Steph and I make bread pudding. Oh, dude, we do like a white chocolate bread pudding. It's so good. And Steph and I, Keaton, who comes on here all the time, used to live with me and Steph. He was our roommate. And one night we made a big pan of bread pudding that we were going to eat on for like a week plus. And him and a buddy come into the house just drunk, right? And he's like, yo, can we get a piece of the bread pudding? Well, yeah, man, help yourself. Grab some, you know. We wake up the next morning. This whole fucking pan of bread pudding is gone. Him and Matt destroyed and I'm not talking like a little bitty baby pan. I'm talking like a big like baking pan of bread pudding. Him and Matt ate every bit of it.
That's pretty. Hey, look, when you're hungry, you're hungry, man, and it's just an ode to how delicious it was that they were able to eat an entire giant pan of bread pudding. Now I kind of want some bread pudding though, so there's that. Dude. I knew we shouldn't have a cooking episode because now I'm just going to be like craving different foods all day for the rest of the day. Like, yeah, I want some bread pudding and I want to eat some ramen tonight. I'd like some ribeye, but that's definitely not going to happen.
Yeah. So my wife's going out of town this weekend, so I'm dropping her off, and then I'm going straight to the grocery store to get groceries for the whole weekend. So whatever we talk about, I'm just going to come home, and that's going to be my food for the weekend. I'll be coming back. We got ribeye. We got everything, you know.
Yeah. It's like, this is perfect timing for you. Sorry, Steph, you're not going to get to enjoy the great food. And shout out to Steph and her carrot cake that we had when we were up in New York, talking about cooking and baking.
Yeah. Dude, her carrot cake is money. She's the reason she is part of the reason why I'm not a fit person.
Your self-control when it comes to food is partially blamed, but she does supply the food. I will say, like, when I was there, like, I was just being polite and not eating that entire cake by myself. If given the option, that whole cake, I would have eaten the entire thing.
Dude, in one sitting, too. I would just take the cake and just.
Yeah, because I ate that first piece and I was like, everyone else has to eat some now, but I want it so bad. I was like, it's so good.
Yeah, and then she made it again when Wes came and visited. And so I got it when y'all were here. Then I got it when Wes was here. And then she made a red velvet from scratch for when my granny came and visited for her birthday. So 3 weeks running, I had a full carrot cake, and then freaking red velvet cake. When my granny left, I was like, Steph, we can't do desserts like this anymore. My waistline's getting bigger. Like, we're trying to go the other way. I got a wedding coming up in a few months. Like, I'm in it. I got to slim down. Like, we can't keep making these things.
I mean, you just kind of take my option. Just eat whatever you want, and then just go outrun whatever calories you put in.
Yeah, fuck you, Joe. Not everybody gets to do that, bro. I look at cake and I gain weight. I can run from here to the cake, and it's still just I'm gonna gain weight. It doesn't matter. It sucks. But all right, getting away from baking. I got quite Joe. You get one meal, right? Like it's an impress me meal. Somebody comes to your house, they're important people for whatever reason, right? Or say the first time you're gonna cook for your wife, whatever. What is your impress me meal?
Look, we've already established the fact that I'm not an expert at this, so I would probably try to keep it simple and go like a burger that I can like put the right seasonings on, cook it to the right however they prefer the burger, like medium rare, well done, that kind of stuff. Like, but with like the seasonings, that's what's going to set a good burger apart. And then I always like to when I make the burgers for the kids, I always like to add like right in the last minute 30 seconds or whatever of cooking it, like slather some barbecue sauce on the top so it kind of cooks into it a little bit. That's probably what I would do if I was trying to be like, please like the food that I make. Safe bet for me.
Are you a smash burger or a thick burger kind of person?
I don't know. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I want to like real like the juicy burger, that kind of thing. But other times is I want to stack like different toppings on top of it. So I want something thinner. That way it's not like this, So what about you?
Ooh, my impress me meal. So it used to be like from scratch, like a pesto cream sauce gnocchi, and I would make the gnocchi myself. Like I would rice the potatoes, add the egg, roll them out, boil them, everything right, and then make the pesto cream sauce from scratch also. But after Italy, after Rome, I took a pasta cooking class, making class with a Nona in Rome. Like I think my impress me meal is now carbonara. I love making pasta and making carbonara from scratch. And I will say it's probably one things I'm like the snobbiest about, and it pisses me off. So we went to Little Italy and we went to a restaurant for lunch when my granny was in town, and they had carbonara. And I said, "Hey, is this authentic Italian carbonara?" They're like, "Yeah, it's authentic." So authentic Italian carbonara is the pasta, an egg with some extra egg yolks in it, and then pecorino romano cheese grated in, and pepper, and you use like guanciale and stuff like that. There's not cream or anything like that, bro. They brought it out as just like cream based sauce. I was like, I fucking hate y'all. You're a liar. It pisses me off. So my impress me meal is probably now carbonara from scratch. I make the pasta, I make everything, and I love it.
So I get that's pretty funny that you like such like you went to this authentic place. You're like, you're not authentic. Get out of my face. But like the first thing that popped in my head when you like gnocchi is that song. Was it by Limp Bizkit? I did it all for the
nookie.
Yes, but like if that, but I'm saying like if that's your go-to meal, you could put that song on and just sing "I did it all for the gnocchi." Like it's just a perfect scenario. But now you changed your go-to meal now, so you can't even do that anymore.
Joe, those are different things, bro.
I know they're different, but you can make it work. Like I'm just saying, like it's close enough.
I'm not doing that. If I'm trying to impress somebody, they're not going to get Limp Biscuit in the background. I mean, who knows? Maybe that would impress them. Like, getting some nice food with some Limp Biscuit. Maybe.
But you're just right as he's saying, I did it all for the gnocchi. Like you slide it over to him. Remix. I did it all for the gnocchi.
That's terrible, Joe. That's terrible.
Look, my mind's a weird place. I will admit it. That's the first thing I thought of when you said that was your original go-to meal. So don't judge me.
That's terrible. I will never do that.
Missed opportunity.
I will say, like, one of my favorite things about like cooking is like getting to share it with people, but also the one thing I struggle with the most is like scaling my food. Like, so usually it's just me cooking for me and my wife, so I can do like whatever I want, and I don't have to make a lot of it, so I can make sure it's really good. But sometimes like we'll do dinner and we'll have people over and stuff like that, and I got to scale it. I am not good at scaling food. I don't season correctly. I don't anything. Like I usually underseason because people's like palates are so different. Like, and if you oversalt versus undersalt, you can't take that back. Whereas if you undersalt and the cook just looks terrible, like what is this dude doing? But now they can add salt. So like I really struggle with scaling when I cook.
Yeah, that throwback to our like New York episode is like, when you were cooking the ramen and I walked in, I was like, I don't think that's gonna be enough to feed 5 kids plus 4 adults.
Dude, I felt like it was. It looked good. I will say that was the best broth that I have made to date. And because I do not measure, and this is one of my biggest downfalls, because like nothing is like specific, I cannot make it again. Well, I can make the broth again, right? But like I can't make it that flavorful. Like that broth was delicious.
Dude, it was so good. Like I was like, like this is so, I don't. It's gonna be hard to get ramen again at like a restaurant and be like, well, this is not even good as Nate's. Like, and my wife makes fun of me like when I talk about it, she's like, it doesn't matter what he would have cooked. Like you would have said it was the best thing on earth. And I was like, no, like I would have kept it real. Like, but that that ramen broth was actually the best broth that I've had. Like, I
First
think
off, Nicole, I don't appreciate the shade. I would like to think that my food was actually good.
oh man, but I think like the best broth I've ever had, the like number one, and it may be because sometimes like experiences, like kind of set the tone for it too. Was
100%.
at this place in Orlando called Super Saiyan, and like it's a Dragon Ball Z themed restaurant. So you walk in, there's giant Dragon Ball Z themed stuff everywhere, art on the walls, like figurines, like life-size figurines everywhere. And we were going to like Orlando, like Universal Studios or something like that, like vacationing. So it was just a good, like it was just like nostalgic, and like you're like in a Dragon Ball Z like setting, like eating ramen. So like that may have been a little bit of added to like the flavor of it. But even Nicole's like, yeah, that was probably the best ramen that we've ever had. It's just, I mean, I guess you can't call yourself Super Saiyan without having really good like broth.
Yeah, you'd have to crush that. So I am looking at trying to go to Japan at some point, probably in the next year or so. And that's one of the things I'm most excited about is they have like an Ichiraku ramen over there.
Yes.
And like I want to go because if I go and that ramen lets me down, my heart will be broken.
Yeah, that would be the ultimate letdown, and then like it would be a stab to Keaton in the heart too, because he's got the like the Naruto tattoo of like the Ichiraku ramen shop of like the Naruto Team 7 sitting there. So it's like, dude, you got the tattoo shop tattooed on you, and the actual place sucks. Like,
Dude, yeah, my heart will be sad. I don't know how I'll come back from that.
It's like there would be no. Oh man.
So what's your favorite kind of food, Joe?
My favorite kind of food, dude, honestly, it changes, dude, depending. I sometimes I like to say pizza just because like you can do anything with pizza. Like you can make a pizza taste like a hamburger, and it's just like a mind-bending. Like you close your eyes, you're like, what the heck am I eating?
Or a salad. When my aunt was here, she got the Caesar salad pizza. And they do stick it in the oven for whatever reason, which seems counterintuitive that you're putting all that Caesarness into the oven, but she got it.
Did it? She said it tastes like she was eating a Caesar salad.
Yeah, she loved it, and I was like, "You're gross."
Yeah, that's all that was. I was like, I don't think I will try that. But yeah, like, and the places like CC's Pizza and like that just throw together crazy stuff with pizza. Like it's cool to like try the different stuff that you can make pizza taste like something else completely, even though you're eating pizza. I don't know.
I was about to say my wife and I, but that's a lie. So my wife makes a Greek yogurt crust pizza where she makes the crust out of just Greek yogurt and flour. And then a lot of times at the house, we'll make like buffalo chicken pizza. Sometimes we'll do like regular like pepperoni and stuff like that. But we tried to do the Greek yogurt. It tastes almost kind of like biscuity. It's really good. I kind of prefer it. It's kind of nice. But we try to do that just to be a little healthier, has more protein and all that fun jazz to it. But my favorite food, probably, dude, I love it all. I mean, I love Mexican food, but like Mexican food, like, I mean, who can't cook tacos, right? Now, there's a difference in like cooking tacos and like making damn good tacos, right? There's a difference. But I think I love making Italian food. Like I love making pasta from scratch and making salsas from scratch and stuff like that. My wife makes a really, really good like lasagna, and I'm not even a lasagna person. Like it is like not even like middle of the road for me. almost just don't prefer it. Bro, she makes it. It is hard for me not to eat the whole fucking thing.
Dude, again, we have to convince her to get on here and just talk about her cooking. Like,
dude,
you've talked her up so well. And so, like, you've talked her up, like, all these different dishes she can come and talk about. Like,
dude, she ain't doing it. She ain't living that life. I try to get her, so she plays a lot of Pokemon. I try to get her to come on here and talk about Pokemon, and she won't do it. I need her to get on here, me, you, and her talk about Summoner's War right now. Just a full 30 minutes of just nerding out about Summoner's War.
Yeah, we could get Nicole in on that too. Like she just beat level 100 of the Tower of Ascension too. So
nice. They're putting in a new tower, by the way. They're keeping the Tower of Ascension, but they're putting in another like tower PvE content. So pretty excited about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I know we are at time, and we are going getting into a vastly different topic than cooking. You know, we probably just everyone's like, "Oh, tacos. What is Summoner's War?" So, but any last thing you want to share before we end today?
Season your food, people. Season your food.
Please season it.
Also, salt your water when you boil like noodle, pasta, all that. Salt your water, potato, anything. Just for the most part, salt your water. We're not talking like a little smidge. Like put some and then put some extra.
Yeah, it's like the video from the dude.
Don't do it like Salt Bae. I don't want my salt running down your forearm.
But and then the last thing that I will share is just make sure you know what temperature you're throwing your fish into if you're going to deep fry your fish, or I guess anything. And like
375. Hey, just air fry everything these days. You don't even got to deep fry. Deep fry's got a specific smell to it, anyways. Just air fry. Yeah. It's just as good.
But also, guys, y'all have a great weekend. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, take care, guys.